Hello, Connection members. I'm so excited to be here with all of you today for season 2 of Community Connections Now. And I'm so pumped to have my guest on the show. Her name is Amy Counce, and she's actually interviewed with me once before, but she comes today with a whole new mission, another very strong purpose and mission alongside everything else that she does in Arkansas. And with that, I'm going to kick it over to Amy and let her talk to you about the work that she's doing here in Arkansas to empower women.
Yes, I love it. Can you hear me okay, Starre?
Yes,
okay,
I can.
Okay, good. Well, thank you so much for having me on today, Starre. You do some amazing things for our community and abroad, and you are truly a power connector. So thank you so much for Community Connections Now for having me on today, and to have women gather here that I'm representing on behalf of this space that we've created. So it's myself as one of the 3 founders, and the other 2 are Callie Turner and Adora Curry. We're all very different, and because we have our own unique perspectives as women leaders in our homes and in our communities, we wanted to come together and, out of this time that we've been in and the year that we've had, create a space for women to find their own leadership roles, their own purpose and calling, and to feel they are empowered to walk in that. And so we meet 3 different ways. We meet on our Gather virtual series, which are the 2nd and 4th Tuesday of every month. And we meet via Facebook and Instagram Live. We talk about real, raw discussions in life. And then we do our Gather table, which are seasonal events where we get together, we eat, and we have women panel come speak. And then we also are going to be hosting our first Gather retreat this fall. So that's going to be a yearly get together for a weekend. And
I love it. I love that.
Workshops to yoga, to hiking, and kind of recentering ourselves, and just remembering who we are, and walking in that purpose in life. So we're really, honored to start it. We just launched it January of this year.
That is so incredible. And so just to share with my audience here, I was actually living in Alaska when I heard about Women Gather, and I have yet to meet the other co-founders, which I want to share a few things. Number one, I'm so proud that this is a joint effort, because when you see leadership teams combine, that's when you see true success. So I'm so excited to hear that this is a co-founder situation and leadership situation. And then, I heard about this in Alaska, and I was actually out cross country skiing with my daughter, and I saw the Women Gather logo pop up, and I was like, what's this? And then I saw Amy Counce, and I was like, that's going to be a huge success. It's Amy. Amy's amazing. And for those that don't know Amy, she also owns Nexus Coffee and Creative, which when I'm not working at home, I am at Nexus. It is my home away from home. We're going to stay focused on Women Gather, but I certainly want to open up the space for her there. But I'm trying to get my enthusiasm across to all of you about how much I adore this woman, and the work that she does is so genuine and authentic. And I know that that's what we're going to see from Women Gather. So I'm so excited to hear that you're doing this. It's so great. So we talked about community connections, and for those who are just now joining us, Community Connections started right at the beginning of the pandemic. And it literally started over me having a glass of wine and being like, I need to talk to people because I'm a connector and I thrive off of people. And I'm stuck at my house and I'm losing my mind, like a lot of us. Started Community Connections on a total whim. And I've been very blessed that a lot of other people needed to connect with communities. And it's just grown and grown and grown. And so when I had Amy on at the first round, season 1 of Community Connections Now, we really just focused on how are you pivoting as a business during COVID-19 and what did that mean to you? And now we actually have a whole new rebrand. And basically, we are now focusing on 1 year is now gone. We've been through 1 year of the pandemic, and now it's 2021. And what does it look like for you to positively pivot through networking and leadership during COVID-19? So what does that look like to you, Amy?
You know, Star and I were talking about this earlier, is you can take this time and actually use it in a positive way. You can use it to find purpose and impact. And so out of this, crazy time that we've all been in together, birthed some really rebuilding concepts for me and for two other women. And then so has it for so many of us, right? And at the end of the day, the why behind really what we're doing in our Women Gather space is community. Yeah. And it's building and lifting each other up, setting each other up to win, to have the tools to be successful, not just, in our professional career fields or in our roles in the community, but in our homes, in our relationships, as a mother, as a sister, as a wife, partner, whatever that is, being able to feel like we can be more impactful in our roles. And so out of this year of a pandemic that it is unprecedented times that we've been walking through, really has birthed a sort of new sense of being for myself, and just more confidence in my purpose, more confidence as a woman, leader. And, my word for this year is rebuilding something completely different and feeling confident in what that means and looks like. So it's definitely given a fresh new perspective I wasn't ready for or even knew that I needed for myself internally.
Yeah. And, that's what I love about you, because you became a leader in Little Rock and, in my own opinion, through your business, Nexus. And like, I will have coffee at my house and then I'm like, I have to go to Nexus. You just had coffee and I'm like, because I have to go to Nexus. Like,
I just have to go and be there. Yeah.
You're so great at building community, and you are a leader, and I'm sure your co-founders are exactly the same. I cannot wait to meet them. And I just know that the work you're going to do, like I said, will be so authentic and genuine. I'm so pumped about it. So one question that I like to ask my guests on the show is, if you could talk to your younger self today, what would you tell yourself? So what would that be for you?
I would say to have your own back. We're typically good at, supporting others, rooting others on. That's always a great quality to have, as being an encourager, but don't forget to encourage yourself. That's what I would tell my younger self. Have your own back.
I like that.
Calm and bold, and be proud and brave, and go forward and be resilient. Don't give up just because the way that things are being done, or the noise around you, or the people doing things differently than you. That's okay, and just owning who you are and finding it yourself through that. It is really important to have your own back. And it's really important to, look out for your own self and believe in yourself. And I feel like when I was young, I seemed confident on the outside, but internally I was very insecure. Yeah. It's taken years to develop confidence and understanding that concept of having your own back and standing firm in what you believe in, and, showing grace, but still being bold. And as a woman, sometimes when we're bold and brave, it can come across completely different to society. A bold woman who is confident, that should be a positive thing. We need to lift that up. We need to root that on in other women. Yeah. Especially when we're in our younger years. And I'm still learning a lot, and I'm evolving so much as a person, but my gosh, that's something I didn't understand, when I was younger.
Oh, that was such good advice. I needed to hear that too. So I hope that helps those who are here with us. And I have to put this plug in because you set it up so nicely, but I'm actually hosting a conversation called The Everyday Bold Woman on Clubhouse on March 11th. I'm started the discussion, which we want all of you to join us. And then joining me will be founder and author of Power Women, Claire Brown. So like I said, you were just using the word bold, and we are going to be discussing the everyday bold woman and what that looks like, and how to highlight women and mothers right now during the pandemic that really are not getting the spotlight that they need nationally through the media, as well as through funding and grants. So side note, but that was just too perfect, Amy.
We need to all be there for that. What was that date?
Yes, so that's March 11th at 6 p.m. Central Time. For my viewers, if you need an invitation, it's going to be a great discussion, and this will be a discussion that happens at least monthly, and we will have new people join us. We'll have, Amy doesn't know it yet, but she's going to be asked to join. And like I said earlier, I believe in combined leadership. So you don't need to listen to just me talk. It's about coming together and bringing different experiences to be the best and boldest women that we can be. So that's what we'll be doing there with that conversation.
That's amazing.
I'm so excited you're coming. But back to you, I want to talk about what resources are your favorite? So we all have our favorite resources. I know I have like my podcast list, and you can't tell, but I'm in my library, and this is like my I want to say safe haven, but that's not even the word. Like, this is where Starre comes to
your sanctuary, your safe space.
Yes, that. And book. So I'm curious what are your favorite resources, whether it's a book or a podcast or who knows, what is that for you?
I'm like you. I am a big podcast believer and listener. I tend to do it while I'm driving, and it's kind of a way of decompressing, but also feeling myself again. And I really, I've really loved one recently. It's called Entree Leadership. And this podcast is focused on, because I believe we are all, men and women, created to be leaders, and we all have it in us. We all have leadership potential, and sometimes you think you have to be leading a big company or a big crew, but you really don't. You can be a leader in your home. You can be a leader to your kids. You can be a leader to a friend. It's leadership to me is walking in your calling. And so this podcast has really helped me flesh out the idea of servant leadership. So when we are leading, it's also humility and figuring out ways to serve others. Because we're learning so much about ourselves, right? And we do need to be confident in who we are and our skill sets and our strengths. But at the same time, this servanthood piece, this, being able to serve and find strengths in others, especially if you think about your family dynamic or your work dynamic or that nonprofit group that you help out with, or you're in a hospital setting. Imagine what that's like to be able to find humility and leadership and really lead with more of a servant heart. And that is something I've really been exploring this past year, because this year has really humbled me, and it's not something that any of us expected. And through that, I'm really figuring out what that means to not just lead people, but manage people and serve them at the same time. Actually, in a way, I found more about myself as a person and figuring out who I am and my own weaknesses and my own skill sets and my strengths by doing this. And this podcast has been so big for me. I listen to at least one episode a day, driving and running errands.
And tell me the name one more time. I'm writing it down.
It's called Entree Leadership, one word. Okay. And what I love is they have all different backgrounds, perspective, and voices come on. And diversity is really huge for me in anything that we do. And for Women Gather, diversity is our foundation. Is we want inclusiveness of women that look differently, speak differently, walk and talk differently than us. That is huge. Having inclusiveness of everybody to give a voice, right? And
so needed, especially in the South.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I know. It really is. And I didn't always understand. Mm-hmm. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I didn't always understand that concept growing up. Here in Little Rock and in Arkansas. And the more I've come into who I am in adulthood and being a leader of the community and starting Women Gather with these two amazing women, and, knowing great, phenomenal women like Starre has really, shown me a whole new perspective of really focusing in and being intentional with that. And so this podcast has really helped expand, who I am and, serving others through what we do best.
Well, I know what podcast I will be listening to this morning on the way to work out. I cannot wait, and I'm going to give you an update on my thoughts tomorrow morning.
Please do.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that. So as we come to a close, and you've shared so many fun tidbits with us, but how I like to close is I want to say, you know, what's next for you in 2021? And so I want you to share kind of like what you had thought of, but I'd love for you to maybe take a deeper dive into, you mentioned like 3 different segments of Women Gather, and they all caught my attention, but the one that like really stood out was the retreat as well. So what's next for you, Amy? What's next for Women Gather? And, you know, where do you see yourself in 2021?
So this is the year of rebuilding and creating and finding new in all of us. And I think finding what may have felt like it was at rest, alive again. And so with that, just to kind of flesh out those 3 spaces, we go virtual with Adora Curry, who's one of the 3 founders. And she's having the most real, raw, honest conversations. I mean, it's amazing to see these women coming to the table and, you know, being storytellers and being visionaries. And so that's 10 a.m. twice a month. So find us on there. You can become a member of Women Gather, just like Community Connections, Women Gather AR on our Facebook page. And
I'm typing it in the chat box for all of you now, so please sign up.
Find us on there. You can, you know, become a member, and we're on Instagram too at Women Gather AR, and we have a website we launched, a landing page, womengatherar.com. So you can learn a little bit about just our heartbeat and our mission here. And then in May, we're going to be hosting our first, safely and very aware of the times that we're in. We're going to be hosting a gather table event. So it'll be limited to 30, 35 women. And we're going to have 3 different women speak and have a panel. We're going to eat together and have conversation around the table and connect with one another and support all local women vendors, caterers, photographers, everyone there that night. Our florist is women owned. Our speakers are all women leaders. We want our women to feel just when they leave there that they want to go have a one-on-one and grab a coffee and a cocktail with every single woman in that room and feel like they're not just doing more business, but they're also finding women to relate to and to be honest with.
And find sisterhood, really, right? Women need to be on and be there for each other, it sounds like. And you know what else I'm hearing from you, Amy, you know, when you share all of this, is I'm hearing intentional, you know, being intentional about your vendors and who you're working with. And I just really want to spotlight you again on that intentional note and applaud you and your co-founders and your organization, because that is how you lead. And you're doing just that by supporting women in Arkansas. So that's amazing. Is there anything else that you'd like to share with us?
You know, I just, I would say that if you haven't gotten to plug in, first off, plug into Community Connections now, see everything that Starre and this group is doing. You know, the foundation of being a part of a space is community, is connecting. If you don't have a space or a mentor or a village of people supporting you and rooting you on, go and find that. It is out there. It's available. What I love about Arkansas and living here in Little Rock is that we have a lot of really great networking, mindset spaces, and just spaces on, you know, just everyday life to, you know, support and love on each other. So find your space. There's so many great ones on Facebook and some that are now getting to meet some in person. And just remember how important it is. We're not created to be isolated. We're created to be in a community. And, you know, if you don't have yours, reach out to Starre or reach out to myself, and we'd love to help connect you with a space that works for you and makes you feel like you are becoming a better version of yourself every day, because that is really what it's about.
Well, thank you, Amy. That was the kindest call to action, because you're right. We are tied together. Community Connections is about community. I know your work at Nexus is about community. And of course, Women Gather is about community. And, you know, I'm going to do one more plug for Nexus, but that I have had so many community building and advocacy work efforts happen because before pre-COVID, I was there every single day. And yeah, I still go in now. It is a completely safe atmosphere. And it's so important because some days you do wake up right now and you say, I just can't do the virtual thing today. I just can't do it. And so Nexus is a great alternative that Amy is providing. So, but it's totally cool if you're at home or at Nexus, you can still log in to both of our hubs.
Exactly.
Most likely you're going to see both of us at Nexus.
Yeah. Definitely will. You'll see us both there probably.
Scheduling and organizing in the corner. But yeah, as you can all tell, like this was such an easy interview for me to do. And I always am so flattered when Amy agrees to work with me and speak to me tonight because her joy and leadership is quite contagious, as you can all tell. So with that, I am going to go ahead and close us. Thank you so much, Amy. And thank you for having me. And your intention and your purpose and your light and energy. I'm so happy to know you and to have you within the Community Connections community. So thank you.
Yes. Thank you, Starre. Appreciate you. And it meant so much. Really honored to be on tonight.
Great. Well, for all of those here with us, I just want to remind you all that this is now being live streamed directly to our Facebook group. We also have an Instagram group, Community Connections Now, which is the name of the live series. And then we have a YouTube channel. We have a brand new YouTube channel. It's super exciting. I have this very rad microphone. I feel very professional.
That's so legit. And you are professional, okay?
I don't just feel I am big things. But check out the YouTube channel. It's really growing. And I want you to know that all of these episodes will be there and then they will be shared. So with that, I want you to look to Amy's resource, her podcast, and just let us know how you're doing in Community Connections. We want to know how you're feeling and how you're doing this week and how we can help you because we want to be there for you. So thank you all. Have a wonderful night. Thank you, Amy, and thank you, Women Gather.
Thanks, guys.